So my journey to becoming an Oracle ace, well, started working at Oracle. Then started a company, it was called Tusk. It's an Inc. 500 company with 2 other partners. And eventually, as I presented and kept presenting, I thought, gosh, I could probably write a book on this. All I have to do is put these together. I talked to somebody at McGraw-Hill who Oracle was working with the Oracle Press program, and they said, sure. And I said, I could probably do it in a few weeks. Took 2 years. What I like about being in the ACE program is you can get early access to the beta program. Product managers will help you learn it. They also will take your ideas to put into the product while it's still going on. Then you take that product, test it, maybe even work with a company that's in the beta program so that you could do some kind of testing of different things that they'd like to do in the future as they see this future with the beta program. Then you start building a presentation of, what does Oracle want to get out there? What can people truly value from if I share that information with them? And then you start presenting. And by the time you're presenting, people are hearing it for the first time, but you've probably been working with it for a year or 2. And they give you things like accounts to the Oracle Cloud so that you could test different things and see which ones are sound, which ones that fit best for the companies you serve. So how is it going to your first talk? I worked for 24 hours to 48 hours working on my first session, slept all the way down to get to the user conference. I get to the user conference, I went to lunch, who walked by? Larry Ellison. I was like, hey, Larry, how's it going? Nobody said anything to Larry when he walked by. But he said, hey, what's up? I thought that was great. I was ready for my first talk. I went in there, it was tuning tips for the experts. Now you are the expert. I wanted people to be able to be as good as any expert consulting coming in to help them. So I actually did a talk on tuning, turned out to be the top speaker of the event of hundreds of speakers, and I thought, yeah, maybe I can do this. All right, let's say you want to become an ace. How do you get there? How do you get to where you're going to present or write a book or things like that? I look at it and I think of what you're doing now. What do you like? It depends on the person. Do you like to speak more? Do you like to write more? What are the things that really drive you as a person? But let's say you want to speak and you've never spoken. I remember a guy named Joe Trezzo. He got up to speak the first time at the national conference, could not open his mouth. Who came up to him? Somebody who had been around a little longer, took his time, started to speak, went pretty choppy. 5, 6, 7 conferences later, he was the top speaker at the event. That could be you. Or do you want to write a book? It's up to you. Some of the things I think are nice accomplishments are at Purdue. They give 5 or 6 awards to the top computer engineers and electrical engineers, and I was one of those. There's also a program called TRIO, which I was a part of, built by Lyndon Johnson to help people, whose families didn't do as well, whose parents never, graduated from college or their first generation education. And I went into this program called Upward Bound, helped me get to college and understand that I even had to fill out an application, which I didn't know you had to do. So I went to this program. I also won an Evans Scholars by caddying. And then I took all that and I started slowly developing things. Now, when I was in the Marines, I did a talk called Uncommon Leaders, which they handed to me and said, you're doing this talk. That was my truly first talk. Talked about character attributes that you need to have as a person. And some of them, unselfishness, moral and physical courage, enthusiasm. The word enthusiasm comes from entheos, from God, this godlike force that's within you. Things like knowledge, initiative, respect, tact, loyalty, humility. And as I look at these, these are the things that you see in those fellow aces. These guys are really humble, hardworking. They work at clients all day and all night sometimes. But I gave that talk once back in my hometown, and my mother and brother came. And it was for a graduating class of other TRIO professionals. And I remember my mother coming up and going, is this the kid that used to duct tape his shoes together because I couldn't buy him a new pair of shoes? And I look at your weaknesses are really your strengths. And as we mentor that next generation, we really have to instill these character attributes in them, because anything they have as a weakness, it will be a strength later, and we could really make that difference. But I always go there and I speak to them, and tell them different things, or somebody gives them all of my accomplishments, and I say, not bad for a welfare kid. But those are the things I'm proudest of.